Where to even begin? Let's start at the end, shall we? Because I love me some fake and coy foreshadowing, just like Itsuno. It took me forever for the game's title to drop, no sooner than, near the end of the game. But once you enter the Unmoored world, it finally does. But what does this mean in the grand scheme of things? It was never just about one dragon, was it? That's probably where you're correct. The dragon you see at the true ending, spoilers for the expansion as the story is going to continue there, is what I can only assume, to be the Black Dragon from Dragon's Dogma Online. Same face, same horn, same size, albeit he looks younger, but apparently dragons age now. I mean, cool. Before I go into the crazy, let's go back a little bit and talk about something you all have experienced in the game as well. The brine, the enhanced cockatrice, and the big snack. Pure infected enemies, or monsters like to call them. The dragon having used the brine as a means to spawn otherworldly creatures and infect them with the substance of the brine, so as to increase their combat potential. Actually, these infected enemies are quite similar to monsters from the second season of the MMO, where the infection has become crystallized, and even monsters such as griffins or gore cyclops have been caught by it. Even more interesting is that early infection is actually green as opposed to red, but that's where the cool part comes in. When the infection progresses, it actually becomes red and tentacles come out and everything, pretty much just as you see in the Unmoored world. Not unlike something else the dragon does, which is, something that we all know as the cycle, or in broader terms, the Great Will. At least that's what I think anyway. Yeah, the second dragon being the Great Will. The thing we end at the base game of DD2, or perhaps better to say that, the Great Will is, nature itself. Because as we all know, nature in our reality takes its own course, and, trying to meddle with it is pretty much futile. So, on another topic, have you guys seen the Godsbane doors scattered around the map? Hard to miss. This alone, at least to me, is, confirmation of the cut content, expansions, DLC, whatever is gonna be coming next, which will take place in post-game, because as soon as you get the Godsbane, capable of opening the door to, whatchamacall the place, where you fight, Volcanic Island, the story basically instantly forces you to, go to the end game. So the only way to go through those Godbane doors would be post game, or, post game, where the story continues. And as hinted at by one of the loading screens, actually, perhaps a form of earthquake would open up these doors. So if you have seen that, then yeah, that's there. And wouldn't you know it, the entire map of DD2, there are ruins of past civilizations. Maybe not one, maybe not two, perhaps even three. Already hinting at, what has happened before. I mean, look at what happened at Grancis. Having just visited a Dragon's Breath Tower, I actually saw something quite significant, what I think will be taken apart in, what is to come in the DLC, expansion, whatever. Thorns coming out of the ground. Something that will likely play a key role in whatever this earthquake might do to the landscape. Again, in, the expansion. Also, not, unlike the MMO. Am I saying the Great Will cycle has truly ended? No, because we literally just discussed that. It's very likely that the whole thing will repeat. It will just take longer before, you know, what people call Gregory, just a red dragon, but before he comes back, basically. The whole point of Dragon's Dogma is a never-ending paradox, so yeah, take that as you will. And that's where the ending of the MMO comes in. Yay for more endings instead of, starting at the very beginning. At the end of the MMO, a character called Leo wants to end the creation of many arisen by the hand of the White Dragon. As the world, as he says it, as the world is only meant to have one arisen. The way he wants to do that is by fighting the Black Dragon. I haven't actually been able to, check all the details and stuff, but I would assume fighting the Black Dragon would mean that the White Dragon does not have to create more arisen because there is no danger to be protected from. But yeah, that's just some speculation on my end. Furthermore, in the main trailer for Dragon's Dogma 2, there's a scene with Darian planting the small tree seed. I've already talked about this many times. Of a new Arbor Heart. We now know it's an Arbor Heart. So during this scene in the main trailer, the main theme of the MMO very briefly plays before cutting to the Dullahan track from DD2. Anyway, there's much more, so let me just continue to something else. During the fight with the Black Dragon in Dragon's Dogma Online, in the background, and air is actually also reddish, just like in the Armored World. I had a look at that yesterday. However, when you fight the Black Dragon, it's like in interdimensional space, so it looks a bit, also rifty, I suppose. It brings me something else, actually, the portals. As most people don't really seem to understand what these are, but like I said, they're basically interdimensional gateways. Most people know them just as where the Seneschal resides, but that's literally tunnel vision. If you like the tunnel where you encounter the Seneschal for the first time. But just as you can see in DD2, where the infected cockatrice and the big snake drop from the portal, so too can arisen or pawns or dragons. They're basically all the same thing anyway. Pass through these gates. I'll come back to that in just a moment. These portals, they're interdimensional gateways, allowing for travel between worlds. This is not pre-recorded or edited, by the way. Itsuno and Co. have mentioned that the story of the first game is a parallel world, but how secretive they have been about the whole thing, makes me think it's much less black and white like that than people believe it to be. Anyway, these portals, I mentioned how creatures in Arisen are able to pass through these gates. Well, it is revealed in Dragon's Dogma Online that, like I mentioned earlier, pawns, a creature that was once a pawn, was turned into a demon, and he, as well as is Arisen, can pass through these gates. So all in all, drakes, dragons, worms, cockatrice, demons, literally Benny Beast, harpies in the first game, as you see him drop together with Gregory, Red Dragon. I'm gonna stop calling him Gregory, I swear to God. All arisen and pawns once, and that is what allows them to travel between worlds. Before I move on to the next thing, the red portals. There's 2 red portals in Dragon's Dogma Online, and just like in Dragon's Dogma 2, these red portals originate from the big dragon, or in this case, Black Dragon. One created by the Arisen of the Black Dragon, the Black Knight, and the other created by Leo to stop the Black Dragon. So I assume there's some connection between the Black Dragon and these red gates. Still with me, because I'm not done. The Dragon Princess. We have seen the leaks going around. Most of the recent stuff is honestly probably fake, like how it's gonna play out and all that. I'm a bit on the fence with that. I mean, it's possible that it's true, but you know. But the lore surrounding it and the connections it all makes to Dragon's Dogma 2 makes me think that Dragon's Dogma Online, you know, is going to be set up for a re-release in some fashion, form, or capacity. It could be just an expansion for DD2 or story that's just the story of Dragon's Dogma Online but put into Dragon's Dogma 2. Maybe it will take 5 games to get there because there was 5 dragons in Dragon's Dogma Online, and maybe they're just gonna have a dragon in each game, you know, something like that. But you know, see you in 10 years, I suppose. To get back to the leaked expansion, the title of it, the Dragon Princess, some of you may already know, could be hinting at a character called Misiel from Dragon's Dogma Online. The Rift mentioned it in one of his recent videos, after, you know, he came to me for confirmation. You're welcome, Rift, but, you know, nice to see that other people are paying attention as well. Good stuff, good stuff. If true, this could mean that perhaps we will meet with her, or, you know, more realistically speaking, an ancestor or some such figure of Misiel. Misiel being the oracle that speaks with a white dragon. By the way, the white dragon. So, for a handful of people, we have already platinumed Dragon's Dogma 2. The platinum being called the True Arisen achievement trophy, you know, is a white dragon. And before this even came to light, sorry, I'm not sorry. I had already speculated that, you know, our character, the Arisen from DD2, will become the white dragon. You know, but why? Well, the game always fades to black. Every single instance that the game fades, it fades to black. But that specific scene at the very end, the game fades to white. And wouldn't that be bittersweet? Because the black dragon is the very beginning, and you're the very end, but also vice versa. So, you know, it's a cool little nod to yin and yang stuff going on right there, and you know, the whole cyclical thing of Dragon's Dogma. You know, people have been whining about the story of Dragon's Dogma always being bad, but it's the same people that can't appreciate the bigger picture, or, you know, being worried about some silly plot lines in the middle of the game. The funny thing about that is, Dragon's Dogma Online, every single season, the mid part of the story is just kind of, you know, it's there to move you forward. And that goes the same for Dogma 1 and Dogma 2, so, you know. Before DD2 came out, you know, I already speculated we would revisit grants as, you know, we did in the second game. And with that, I want to conclude that, you know, all the stories are gonna collide, and it's gonna be interesting. Guys, I appreciate you for staying around, and I hope you enjoyed this. Take care.